High schoolers' lives are incredibly tough. And I know you must be thinking, oh no, it's another collection of first world problem from an angsty teen. Well, bear with me then. When you think of Japan, South Korea, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, and education, I'm sure words like intense, rigorous, and competitive will come to mind. At the surface, these countries are doing wonderfully well with their education. But as I'm sure many of you will be aware of, the intense pressure on young people in these countries have contributed to a significant decline in mental health, and in certain cases, teen suicide. Without a doubt, the pressure on young people these days are intense and varied. For many students, particularly in Asia, not being within the top 50 in a school of, say, 200 is a disgrace. And of course, I'm talking about grades because what else is there to think about? Not going to a top 10 university? Shameful. In Asian culture, we like to think that hard work makes up for lack of talent. That if you work hard, you can achieve anything. Now that can be a very nice and motivational idea until it meets reality. Because when we fail, we overwhelmingly blame ourselves. It's a very personal failure. If we didn't get the top grade, it's because we didn't work hard enough. Or worse, we're not intelligent enough, not competent enough. If we can't meet with the ever-rising expectation, we deem ourselves unworthy human beings. In short, we can't breathe. The pressure is driving us all insane. That's not just it, because grades are merely speculation for what's called the plan. We're taught that the most important thing ever is to have your entire future all planned out and well prepared. The more perfect your plan, the better your life will be. And I spend a lot of time thinking about my future. Now, I admit that might just be the most generic line a 17-year-old ever said. Well, of course I am. I'm in my senior year after all. And some would say it's already too late to still be thinking at this stage. Despite all my efforts, however, whenever someone asks me, what do you want to be in your future? I have to bite my tongue and say, you know, I'm not quite sure. As you can guess, that answer earns me a lot of stare that blurs the line between pity, disappointment, and disgust. Because a high school senior who still doesn't have her entire life planned out before her? Why, what absurdity! And I know the answer that they were looking for. And I know that my answer will never satisfy them. But I always thought, if I had given them the answer that they wanted, if I had pretended to conform to what's expected of me, they would immediately start swarming me like a pack of bumblebees and start pricking me with advice. Everyone says, you do what you hate now, you're going to enjoy what you've made in the future. But when is that future? When will we get to enjoy the supposed future that was born from today's discontent? Is it when you graduate high school? No, because then the pressure's on to get those college grades. Is it when you graduate college? No, because then you'll be after those competitive graduate jobs. How about when you start working? No, that's usually when your mom tells you to settle down. When you're settled, you worry about the children, the mortgage, the car, the list goes on. So could it be that when your children are all off to college and seemingly all your worries are over, it's time to start enjoying life, right? Well, you can, but that's also usually when your knees start to stiffen. From what I can see, a happy future rests more on today's content. We have been so immersed in the stress of planning out a perfect future that we neglect our present. Too many young people like myself have been raised to be afraid of stepping just a tiny bit out of the path laid out by various people that we risk losing our passion, because those who neglect their present neglect themselves. Your teachers, your parents, your peers, your friends, they're all well-meaning and caring, but can they always know you more than you know yourself? It's also common these days to note that many, perhaps even the majority of students in this room will, in the future, end up doing jobs that have yet to exist. Whatever the statistic, we look likely to face a great deal of uncertainty in this rapidly changing world. So it doesn't have to be so stressful. It's okay to take a little time to figure out who you are and what you want. If we keep exhausting ourselves, both physically and mentally, in parts for what we think others would want, then once we're faced with uncertainties, how well equipped can we be to deal with them? Perhaps if we can just be a little kinder to ourselves, we can come to understand what makes us tick so much better, and we can learn to take back some control in our own lives. So yes, go for the grades, go for the Ivy League school and the high-flying jobs if that's what you want, as long as you want it. The only question remains is whether we are brave enough to encourage this. And I think we can be. Thank you.